Um, I wanted to, I guess it's just another piece of breaking down a characteristic of the Jezebel spirit. This is a dream that I had last year from the Lord, and I'm going to share it with y'all. It's kind of like very, very raw. For me, it is. But I had this dream last year, and I'm writing down the interpretation with the Lord. And I just kind of wanted to share this aspect with y'all because I hate this spirit, and I just really wanted to be exposed so bad. um, I'm gonna tell you the dream first. In the dream, the setting of the dream was me and my husband, and we were in like a SUV, like a vehicle with other people. And the people in the vehicle, I know that they represented people I had met on YouTube, maybe people who actually saw me, who watched my videos, and then met me in real life. And me and my husband were kind of sitting in the back of the SUV, and he was on the right of me. And the woman that God used as kind of like a type or a figure was my cousin. And this particular cousin is very, I wouldn't say she has a Jezebel. I really don't know if she's a Jezebel or not. She's very evil. She's a very, very black heart. She does. She's very, a lot of jealousy, just very conniving. She just likes to hurt people. I'll just say that much. She doesn't mean you any good. But she was the person that the Lord chose to use, who was the main spokesman in the SUV. But she represented someone who I had met on YouTube. So we're riding in the SUV, and all of a sudden the woman just kind of, she just starts blatantly just talking. She's talking to me, but she's doing it in front of everybody, and she's just basically saying how she's disappointed because I'm not the same person that I am on camera. And she was just kind of pointing out a lot of my weak spots about how I'm very shy and I struggle with social anxiety in person, but on camera I'm actually very outspoken and bold. And the things that she was saying was true, but it was in a way where it was kind of like it would make somebody feel very, very cornered and vulnerable, because you're really just, she was saying things that were true, but it was just kind of like, yeah, and you just this and you that. Like on camera you like this, but in person you just, this and that. And after she said all of that, everybody in the SUV, including my husband, got really quiet, because that was just like the whole tone in the car. Everybody was agreeing with what she said about me. Even my husband agreed with what she said. So when I had the dream last year, I knew obviously it was the Lord just kind of showing me, like, these are some flaws that you really need to work on, because those things are true. But now that I'm interpreting the dream, one thing he pointed out to me, because I just found it very odd how, pay attention to how you feel after somebody talks to you when you're dealing with this spirit. I felt very raw. I felt cornered. I don't feel like it was said to me in a way where it was kind of meant to edify me or kind of build me up or loving correction. My husband later did that in the dream, but I didn't feel like it was meant to do that. I feel like it was meant to publicly shame me. When it comes to something like that, the word does say that open rebuke is better than secret love, but even that's done from the Spirit of Christ, and that's only in certain circumstances that you do something like that. I feel like in this particular dream, the things that were said, even though that it was agreed upon amongst everybody in the SUV, that's something that you could have pulled me aside and told me if you wanted to correct me. Don't make it, it's very similar to what my manager did at that last job, when I told you how she just kind of had the meeting and she was like singling out certain people in the meeting that she kind of just wanted to embarrass and humiliate. Well, that's what this character did to me in the SUV. And I have some notes here that I just kind of jotted down. And later on, I'm gonna just finish on the dream. Later on in the dream, so me and my husband and like the whole group, the whole YouTube group, I guess people who I've met in real life, we go to this motel because we're on some like special vacation or something. My husband leaves and he goes to work. I don't know why he left and went to work in the middle of the dream, but I think the Lord probably just kind of wanted me to experience maybe just the nature of that spirit. I don't know. My husband left and he went to work, and I was just kind of stuck at the motel with these girls, the people who I've met. That's what they represented, people I've met on YouTube. And none of them would talk to me. I was all by myself. I had my own little motel room, because we were in a motel, but it was weird. Like the inside of it was like sub rooms, so we still each had our own individual room. It wasn't a hotel, it was a motel, but it was just weird. So everybody was just kind of clicked up together, and they were all spending time together. But when it came to me, I was very isolated, very rejected. Nobody wanted to talk to me or spend any time with me or anything, and that's just how they were treating me in the dream. So they're spending time together. I think a couple girls probably came out and chatted with me a little bit, but eventually they were just on the other side. And I called my husband in the dream, and I just didn't like how I was left to feel just very it was just embarrassing. It was very humiliating. The whole purpose in her doing it was mostly just to shame me. Like, the stuff you were saying was true, but it wasn't really, the motive behind you saying it wasn't right. So I was on the phone with my husband in the dream, and I was just really just pouring out my heart to him and telling him how it hurt my feelings, and how they would just treat me a certain kind of way, or they weren't really talking to me because, he was gone while he was at work and everything. And he has such a beautiful heart. He really does. He was just encouraging me in the dream, and he was just kind of listening to me and just kind of hearing me out. Even though he agreed with what was said about me, he knew it was true. He wasn't handling it in a way where the other girls were handling it. I think that's what God was trying to show me in the dream. Like, he's not like everybody else. You can trust him. He's not going to abandon you and just throw you away, But he was giving me, he was giving me constructive criticism in the dream. And he started talking about my videos. And I think this is how the Lord lets me know he's watching my videos. I'll have dreams like this. Like, he'll say something about my attitude in the video or in the comments or something. But this dream is old. It's from last year. But he was just kind of giving me constructive criticism, and he was counseling me and everything. And he was saying the same thing she said, but it was a completely different spirit. Like, my husband had a very genuine, sincere, passionate love and care for me. It's like the Holy Spirit was talking to me about myself. It didn't feel like somebody was just coming to just point out all this stuff that's wrong with you, and they just kind of leave you like you're the scum of the earth, And I pulled a lot of things from this dream, but one thing I really just wanted to focus on was Jezebel's influence and how she was the spokesman. I pulled so many things from that. So I'm going to go back to the little SUV scene and what I noticed about this spirit. Now, number one, I'm already open about the personal stronghold that I deal with on my channel. So one thing I find very interesting about Jezebel is it's very, very sad. It's a tough thing to deal with this spirit in a corporate sense, because the people that it uses, or the people that spirit is able to manipulate against you mentally, cannot discern it, because you really, really do need the Holy Spirit to teach you, and you really do need spiritual discernment to even detect that spirit, because it plays mind control. That's the kind of spirit that likes to do mind games and stuff. This is the spirit that will use vessels and use people to whisper in somebody's ear about you, completely turn their heart away from you. This is all due to the Jezebel spirit. And this is why sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of sway somebody in the right direction, or try to defend yourself when it comes to this spirit, because that spirit plays mind games. That spirit has the potential to literally turn a whole group of people against you. Very similar to what happened with Jesus when Pilate was trying to release him and Barabbas, and literally all the Israelites, the Bible says that they were convincing the people to choose Barabbas over Jesus. And that's very, I think that's a great example of what the Jezebel spirit does. Me personally, I still deal with that stronghold. So I just found it very interesting how she was exposing me in the dream and pointing out all these flaws, but the flaws that I have are due to her influence. So what that spirit will do, it'll be the reason that you do what you do. It can be the influence behind your error and your transgression, or whatever these flaws are that nobody likes, but it'll take those errors and those transgressions and kind of do a 180 and flip on you. I know y'all already thinking about some people like that, but let me finish. Yeah, this spirit is the influence and the main witch behind those potholes that you have. That's kind of leavened, but it'll do a 180 and it'll flip on you, and it'll use those same flaws and those same potholes to turn people and manipulate them against you. And that's exactly what she did in the dream. You're pointing out all these things that's wrong with me, but really it's because of your influence. So this is a tactic that this spirit uses to kind of keep you in bondage as a victim. Rejection. Rejection is the doorway for Jezebel in most cases, and that was my issue. I deal with those things because of you, but then you turn around and you kind of flip it. And anytime Jezebel is working or networking over a group of people to slander you, or sometimes she could be using, that spirit could be using a group of people to slander you and treat you that way, or it could just be that one person in the midst of a group of people that's the one doing it, putting the seeds in the people's ear. It's that person as well. So she has different roles, and she has different means of doing it. But anytime that spirit is doing that, or it's operating in a role where it's kind of manipulating people to kind of turn against you, it's always going to leave you feeling rejected. It literally it's literally like the worst torture you could ever do to somebody. This spirit is like so ruthless of what it does to its victims. So that's what it does. You already have a stronghold. This spirit has you in bondage to it. And like I said, most likely it's due to rejection. So because of rejection, you already have these potholes in you where that spirit can manifest its characteristics and its attributes. And then once you display those things, it'll turn back around and start influencing the people around you to reject you because of it's very, like I said, this spirit loves reverse psychology. It's straight witchcraft. The Jezebel spirit is straight witchcraft. And the reason why it turns people against you, they honestly can't discern and perceive that spirit is influencing you to know, like, okay, well, that's not really them, it's you. And this spirit actually works through reverse psychology. All that stuff is too deep for them. So all that they're going to see is your fruit. They're just going to see what you did or what you said wrong. They just care about the facts. Carnal people care about the facts. They don't have the spirit to spiritually discern anything higher than that. So they care about the facts. And that is how this spirit is able to literally manipulate these people and turn them against you. And it results in rejection. Every time, it's always going to result in rejection. It's always going to result in people judging you because there's slander involved. It's always going to be slander, public shame, humiliation, anything having to do with making you a spectacle in front of other people. That's what that spirit does. And the spirit loves shame. Jezebel is one of her biggest tools is shame. So she'll shame you, and as a result of like making you a public spectacle, it's going to cause everybody to turn away from you and turn against you, which is still her plot. That she's successful in that because the whole purpose in doing that was for you to feel rejection yet again. So she keeps you in bondage to her through the spirit of rejection. You keep experiencing rejection from people over and over and over again because they're either not mature saints, they don't know how to really walk in unconditional love and the love of God towards somebody. And like I said, they may not even have spiritual discernment to know that it's that spirit's influence. They just see facts. And the word does tell us, you will know them by their fruit and to judge righteous judgment. But at the same time, a part of judging righteous judgment is having spiritual discernment. And every Christian does not have that. So the fact that everybody in this SUV represented people I hadn't met in real life, the Lord was also showing me that everybody who has treated me that way or abandoned me, it was due to that spirit's influence. This is a rabbit hole. I wrote so much down here. But that is true. Anytime you have a situation where it's an isolation tactic. Jezebel can manipulate and sway, because spirits can do that. Demons can't do that. They can do it to a whole crowd of people. I was just watching a testimony last night about this ex-Wiccan. She was saying how when she was a psychic, she was a part of like this new age group before she got saved, and she would say how they would go to rave parties and all this woman would have to do is type in some numbers on a computer or something, or they would use like witchcraft science or something, but all she would have to do is type these numbers in, or she would just have to say something, or they conjure up this spirit, and they literally would just watch everybody that was at that rave party, their whole everything would just change. So spirits are capable of doing that. They do it all the time, 24/7. I mean, it's constant. They're always constantly swaying and controlling and influencing people's words and, their speech and their actions and everything, and even Christians, So you don't even have to really be in bondage to that spirit for it to use you. But that is true. It can use Christians, especially if we're not really mature yet, or we don't really know how to properly just kind of walk in the love of God yet. We're still learning as a believer. I don't think God would hold it against that Christian, but that spirit still can use that because you don't really know how to walk in the love of God properly, so it can still use you to turn against somebody. And so Jezebel only speaks to shame and tear down and make a public spectacle. And so let's just go to like a basic layer. Y'all probably already have friends like this. I know y'all probably thinking about relatives. Your mama probably like that. Your aunt. It's always that one person that wants to put you on blast in front of everybody. They always got something to say about your marriage or your husband, or something about you that's negative that would just shame you and embarrass you in front of everybody. And you're just kind of wondering, and they're always bold and outspoken people. It's always those people. They always have to say something or do something that's going to embarrass you. And you just kind of wonder to yourself, like, why do you do this? Like, why would you do something like that? That's a Jezebel spirit. A Jezebel spirit loves to shame and publicly embarrass you and tear you down, make you a public spectacle. And it's an isolation tactic, because in order for you to remain bound to her as a victim, she has to keep your rejection wound fresh. So that's why I said she's the reason for your flaws. That spirit is the influence behind the main flaws that you have, or the nasty attitude that you have. But it'll use that, because it is transgression nonetheless. It'll use those attributes or those characteristics, and it'll kind of make you a spectacle so people can see what's wrong with you, and then it causes the people to turn away from you because of something negative, But it was that spirit the whole time. So as a result, you feel rejected, you feel vulnerable, you feel just raw, and that's exactly what that spirit wanted. And these people don't even realize, like I said, how easy it is for demons to just use them for stuff like that, but it does happen. Reverse psychology. Oh my goodness. But that spirit spirit uses reverse psychology to torment its target. It does. It's the main ringlinger that is the influence behind your error, but then turns on you to expose and point the finger, resulting in rejection of yourself and from others. It's a witchcraft tactic. Yeah, okay, second one. Jezebel is also a fault-finding and accusing spirit. Now, when I was really, really, really under this spirit, like super, super hard, Jezebel has so many different functions. I can't even... one of them is religious spirit. Like a few years ago, I had that spirit on me strong. This spirit is a fault-finding spirit. It doesn't always have to be a Christian. This spirit just manifests in anybody. Anybody can have those character traits. If you ever know anybody that's always pointing out your flaws, or they're always looking for something that's wrong with you or wrong with your work, anything about you or anything that you're over, anything. It could be a project, like a dream I just had recently. God was showing me that they had nothing positive to say about this script that I wrote. It was all negative. They were accusing me of copying it from a different movie and everything, but those characteristics, that's a Jezebel spirit. She's a fault-finding and accusing spirit. It's looking, why that spirit does that? Simply because of what I just said in the beginning. She has to find something that she can use as evidence against you. Please, and this is why I say really, really be on your guard when it comes to that spirit. Because if you have somebody like that in your circle, it could be your homegirl. Or guys, it could be your friend. It could be a guy. Guys have the Jezebel spirit. If you have somebody like that in your circle, this spirit is so subtle. I cannot even explain to you, as much as I know about this spirit, I didn't recognize that somebody had actually had that spirit operating through them until after my encounter with them and everything had already happened, and I was just left like trash, on the ground, just beat up and sore. That spirit is so subtle. It's they are bold and outspoken, but sometimes they're quiet. You really would just have to be really circumspect with a Jezebel spirit and just really pay attention to everything, because sometimes that spirit can just kind of be in the background. Which is the case when it comes to deliverance as well. You may not even know that you have a Jezebel spirit, because all these years that spirit's just been lying dormant. That's what it does. It's very strategic and it's very wise. It'll peek out when it has to, but in many other cases, it'll just kind of be really quiet. And if this person in your circle and you don't know that they have that spirit, if they're in your circle, what they're doing is they're paying very close attention to everything that you say. They pay very close attention to everything that you do, and they're very observant, because they're storing all this information and planning to use it against you in the near future. You don't know that, but that's exactly what they're doing. These are the same people who will pretend to be your friend in your face. They may even, it's so much witchcraft. These people will literally go back and forth. You know how they say that there's that, what's that expression? They take a bone and carry it and they give it to the other person. They come back. It's those types of people, but it's much, much deeper than that. This person they have their own agenda. And don't forget that it's a spirit operating through them as well. So this spirit has its own agenda through this person, will manipulate you, play mind games on you, giving you information. Could be counsel, being your friend. Oh, don't worry about this, encouraging you. They could be just doing so many different things at the same time. Everything that you're pouring into them, everything you're confiding in them about, they're taking it in and they're storing it. And depending on what you confide in them about, let's say it's about your husband or something, guess what they're going to do? Go right back to your husband, give that information, twist it, flip flop it, witchcraft. All that is witchcraft. All that is witchcraft and manipulation. None of it is true, but it's factual. That's what I hate about the Jezebel spirit. This spirit is all about facts. It's all about transgression. We got to find the faults, find the error, find the flaws, so we can take that information and we can flip it. And there's no truth in any of it, but you can flip it, carry it to this person, and now you're manipulating their mind. They do the same thing. The spirit is just so freaking weird, but it does the same thing to like those both individuals. Now you got this Jezebel in your midst. You're wondering why your marriage is in shambles. This is why. And a great example, it could be, like I said, some of you who are running to your friends about your wife and your husband, big mistake. That person could have a Jezebel spirit, and they are the reason why you're not with your spouse right now. It's them. Or it could be your parents. Don't ever let nobody get in your ear about, I don't even want to say just about your spouse, really about anything. Somebody with this spirit, that spirit knows how to play mind games on such like a heightened level. It's insane. You really would have to have your heart guarded and really be led by the Holy Spirit when you are dealing with somebody like that. They'll be in your ear. They're telling you things about this person or telling you something about this. It messes with your mind. That spirit knows exactly what it's doing. It's mind games. It's reverse psychology, and it's witchcraft on the brain. This is how that spirit is always successful, what it does. And so fault finding and accusing spirit. Somebody with this spirit doesn't have any peace because they're always looking for something that's wrong with somebody. They can't see anything positive about you. They can't see anything. They can't compliment you, no, unless they're trying to deceive you. It's not a genuine compliment. You would need discernment to even detect that. But they're always fault finding and accusing people because they're trying to find. That's like their job. They are freaking Inspector Gadget for demons. They really are. This spirit has to find something to use as evidence against you. They may not even attack you right away because they have to store up enough information to attack you. It's very demonic. People do that crap. It's very wicked. And usually when they finally are, when they've gathered all their information, it's very similar to what and the Lord actually showed me that my manager at that hotel is doing that. He showed me a dream that she's been trying to do that and stuff. He still giving me dreams about her. But even though the assistant manager that I had at the mall when I was working there, she did the same thing. I told you how she went to like corporate, where she went to the general manager. She went above our manager. She went above the district manager, and she went somewhere else. I found out she was doing false police reports and everything on me. And the reason I got fired, I think, because she was just acting really strange that day. The way she was acting that day was like she knew someone was watching us. And I think whenever we're really slow, I would just read my Bible or something. And like I said, any little thing that spirit can find to use against you, it's enough. Which is why you really, really have to be on guard. Obviously, that's something I'm learning now. You really have to be careful around people with this spirit. Because the smallest thing that you do wrong, they will try to use it as a witchcraft tactic against you, to target you, and to completely annihilate you, to destroy you. It's true. That's what that spirit does, a fault-finding and an accusing spirit. It's always paying attention, very close attention to you and your error and transgression to use it against you. And like I said, when it finally does manifest, this spirit works behind the scenes. So people like this, they're so calculated and so demonic. You would never know they're even conspiring against you in that way until it finally happens. And when it happens, it's big. It's something so, like, you didn't even see it coming. This is how this Jezebel spirit works. Which I have experienced that so many times. But yeah, they're working behind the scenes. They're doing all this private stuff, conspiring against you, gathering all this information and all these things to use against you. And then, it just kind of hits you. The Jezebel just loves to hit you out of nowhere. Jezebel spirit. And, so what I wrote down is, you don't want to give this type of person, if God gives you the grace to discern that spirit in somebody, I don't even care if they're not even manifesting all of the characteristics. Like, let the Holy Spirit reveal it to you. But you want to be very, very, very careful what you say around this person, what you do around this person. Don't even do anything in front of them or in front of somebody that's affiliated with them for them to even find out. Because the way that these demonic people operate in their mind, it's so calculated. I'm not kidding you. They store all of this information up, and they're going to use it to take you down. I'm serious. So don't give this spirit any type of ammunition or any evidence for its slander. The Jezebel spirit is going to slander you, but at least let it look stupid. Don't give it, don't like, this is how this spirit is is successful in manipulating people's minds against you, because what it's using is factual and it's true, but they don't have the discernment to detect otherwise. They don't know that, okay, well, that spirit you're the person who was actually behind it. Well, you're putting it on her, it's that type of situation. So what you want to do, because that spirit is actually that crafty, and if that's the case with that spirit and you have somebody like that, you're wasting your time trying to be dependent upon the little pawns, the little eunuchs that it has under them. You're wasting your time trying to convince those people anything against you. As long as that spirit got facts against you, that's all they're going to believe. So the best thing that you can do with somebody like that, keep your mouth shut. Be very circumspect. Be very careful what you say around them, what you do around them, and don't give them, to the best of your ability, don't give them any evidence. Don't give them any ammunition to come against you and slander you. Don't. I'm trying to think of what else. Jezebel. You know what's really sad though? I'm talking about the people too. Like, those are definitely characteristics, but there's people who operate in that spirit who don't even know they have it. And that's really why the Lord says that you don't wrestle against flesh and blood. You wrestle against that spirit, because people, even if you knew that you had certain characteristics like that, and you knew that you were actually that really evil and wicked to even do all that stuff, like all that secret stuff, all that, they still don't even know that that's actually a spirit using them. And this is why, so the Jezebel spirit is actually very subtle. It likes to remain hidden when it's working. But once you start learning about that spirit and how it operates, you'll kind of be able to see it, when you're kind of just in different surroundings and circumstances and groups of people, you'll be able to discern that spirit, because it's all going to have the same characteristics. It's all the same agenda. It always happens the same way. But as for the person themselves, do they know that they're operating in this spirit? They probably don't. This is an attack against you from the demonic realm, like directly. It just finds the right people to use for the job. Pity those people, because there's so many different ways that spirit could use somebody. But it's an isolation tactic. It's a rejection tactic, because that spirit likes to make you feel vulnerable. That's why it shames you. Shame and manipulation, those are just tools. But her main goal is to kind of destroy you. Lack of love. Anytime that spirit can kind of make you feel cornered to a point where you're not receiving any love or acceptance from anybody, that's why it turns people against you, because it wants to keep you in bondage to rejection. So the only way that can continue, it can continue its power over that stronghold that you have connected to that spirit. It has to keep finding ways to bringing people into your life, or if God is bringing the person in your life, that spirit will somehow find a way to destroy that union. And it'll use that person to turn against you. Somehow. I promise it always happens. Because that spirit has to keep you isolated. No love. Because it's going to break that spirit's stronghold over you is love. And a lot of people do get free when it comes to receiving God's love from people, or just being in the midst of other people and just being around people. And I said, what video did I say this in? I think I said this on my other channel. I had a video where I was saying how God uses other people that you talk to or just kind of socialize with to show you things about yourself. And it kind of breaks these false paradigms that the Jezebel spirit puts on you about yourself, because she doesn't allow you to love yourself. She doesn't. That spirit is not going to allow you to love yourself, because like I said, it has to keep you in bondage to a rejection stronghold. So, of course, it's going to keep you away from people and keep people away from you, because God's going to use those people to show you the truth about yourself. And once the truth gets in, it shatters all the lies that this spirit has been constructing over your mind for years. But are people gullible to this spirit's influence? Yes, they really are. It's so easy for us to just abandon people and throw them away if something's wrong with them, or they got this flaw and this and that is wrong with them. Or, like I said, that spirit likes to make you a public spectacle. So let's say this person does embarrass you publicly, and I mean it's something that's so broad. I mean everybody can see it, the natural response would be to shun the person because it's embarrassing. Have nothing to do with them. Don't talk to them. Oh my God, that kind of thing. That's what that spirit does. But hopefully, if that person is really in the Father and they're led by the Spirit, they won't treat you like that. Which is exactly what my husband did in the dream. When he came back from his job in the dream, everybody else just kind of rejected me, and he literally was the only one in the dream who was just kind of. It's funny to me because basically God was showing me, number one, he's not like everybody else. He was showing me I can trust him. This is somebody that you can trust, because everybody that has abandoned you, that has met you, those things may be true, but everybody who has met you and abandoned you, um, that's the people who were under the influence of that spirit that caused them to do it in the first place. So he was just basically showing me the fact that my husband, he did agree what was said, but he came back and he literally was like the only person in the dream that showed me any real love. He genuinely cared about me, and he was ministering to me in the dream. He was counseling me like a husband would give you constructive criticism. Everybody else literally in dream just kind of like rejected me. Everybody. So yeah, unfortunately, she's not going to be successful when it comes to my marriage. I know she'd like to be. But yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can say, but I hate this spirit so much. I really do. I don't want to say I hate the people it uses, because I mean, it uses wicked people, but at the same time, it's just like, man, I can't stand people like that. That's a strong, well, I don't want to say it's a strong spirit. I think every demon has its, just like I was saying in I Love You, Jezebel, my I Love You, Jezebel video, I was saying how, when it comes to deliverance and stuff, everybody thinks that they could just come up against these demons and just command them to leave or command them to do certain things, when really you have to dismantle spirits and their control sometimes. Because if they got a good grip on something or somebody, it's not going to be that easy. You have to learn your enemy. And this is why I do these videos. Because I know somebody say, you talk about Jezebel all the time. Well, that's because God teaches me. I'm in Jezebel season. Everything I've been experiencing throughout my whole life has been me dealing with different Jezebel. So he wants me to learn about this spirit. And I've been through so many different experiences with people who have this spirit. And even myself as well. A lot of those attributes where the Lord has revealed to me that that spirit was even using me to do some of those things. And I didn't even see it. And that's why I said, you can operate in that spirit and not even really realize it. Because it's a witchcraft tech. Like I said, it's a mind control thing. It's all a mind thing. But you have to learn your enemy. You have to learn what this spirit uses and how it works and how it likes to kind of maneuver, to really dismantle it. Because otherwise it's just going to just keep chewing you up and spitting you out. It loves reverse psychology. This spirit, like I said, these kind of people, they're the main ringleaders. That's why I said they're very quiet. Pay attention to that. Let's say, for example, you have a group of friends, and one of them is a Jezebel, but she's not very loud and outspoken. At least not all the time. She's not, but she's quiet sometimes. Let's say she's just really subtle, very quiet all the time, very analytical. She's always observing, always paying attention. And all this drama gets started amongst you and the other group of friends. And the main person that you will find out who's putting the seed in the ear would be her. Now, she may not realize that spirit is using her to do that, but that's exactly what it does. That spirit loves to sow discord, and it does it very, very subtly. Very, very subtle. To a point where you wouldn't even really be able to pinpoint the person. Those demons like to stay in the dark. They're the main ringleaders starting everything. They're the influence behind everything that's going on. They are so calculated, I promise you. They can come up with a whole strategic plan and find some weak, victimized pawns to complete what they want to do. They're the influence behind it. They're the ones really doing it. But they find other people to kind of do the dirty work for them. And they just kind of stay quiet and while they remain just looking innocent. No, I did nothing wrong. All this drama got started. All this confusion, and you're wondering who the real culprit is. It's that person. That's exactly who it is. Planting seeds. Very conniving. very manipulative. In the reverse psychology, sometimes when they give you the information, they can say it. I'm trying to say something without really exposing somebody that I know. I'll just say, let's say they give you a piece of information about somebody, but the way they say it is, it's in a way that would make you question the person's character. That's witchcraft as well. I say gossip is witchcraft. Don't ever gossip about somebody. Anything negative that comes to you about somebody else that would make you look at that person in a light where you're not blessing them, you're cursing them in your heart, that's witchcraft. I don't want any information that can be twisted or turned upside down and left and right, 180 this and 360 there. I don't want any information like that. And that's exactly what those kind of people will do. They have information about certain people, and they'll reveal that information. Some of it is not even really meant to be shared with anybody, but they'll reveal it to you, and they'll give it to you in a way where you will question that person's motives and their character, to stir up this suspicion in your spirit. That's what that spirit does. And that's usually how the disorder and the confusion arises and starts. That's why I said that person, somebody who's operating in a Jezebel spirit, they're able to kind of keep their hand just kind of hidden. But the seeds that they planted and the manipulation tactic that they used on your mind when they were given that information, they knew exactly what it was going to do, but they just kind of let it manifest in its own dirty, just messy way, the way they wanted it to. So they stay kind of hidden. They technically didn't do anything, but they're the main ringleader behind the crap. And if this spirit ever gets exposed, you know what it's going to do? Have outbursts. It'll have an outburst. It'll go crazy. It will completely do a 180, because this spirit is also psycho. Women like this are psychotic. They are. It'll do a complete 180. No, it's not my fault. Oh, everybody's against me. Now, why are you treating me like this? A perfect example. I saw this when I was watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion a couple years ago, and the perfect example of this would be Nene. I witnessed Nene do this on that show. Jackie as well. Jackie from Basketball Wives. I don't know if y'all watched it or not, but if you have watched it, they are perfect examples of the Jezebel spirit. Jackie starts so much mess on that show between those girls, and she knows exactly what she's doing. And the mess that she starts, she literally leaves all the girls, they start turning against each other, and they're just kind of rejecting each other all of a sudden. Now there's all this confusion between them, and now they're fighting each other because of all these rumors and these accusations, and what information came back to them, and now they're taking it a certain way because the way it was given to them, and Jackie just kind of sits in the background, just I'm so sorry. You know what? You need a real friend. That's exactly, if you watch that show, Jackie does that all the time. She starts all this mess between those girls. And she has a rejection spirit herself. She does. She'll start all this chaos and this confusion amongst these girls. And she's the main influence behind all the drama and the confusion. But yet she'll go to each girl and still try to I'm your friend. Oh, that's wrong and this and that. And once they kind of gets exposed, or that spirit that's operating through her gets exposed, it's a victim tactic now. You know what? Nobody cares about me. You know what? F you guys, and you're a B, and you're this, and that. But that's exactly what that spirit will do. And Nene, I think Nene did this on the reunion. I think she was talking about her mom or something, because that's why I said rejection. I promise you, rejection is always the base demon for the Jezebel spirit. Both Nene and Jackie from those two reality shows deal with rejection. Nene's mom left her, I think, when she was a little girl. And that's why she's so, really airheaded. I don't know if y'all watch Nene. That girl has a strong, Jezebel spirit on her. But I think on the reunion, everybody was just kind of... It would seem like everybody was coming down on her, but it really wasn't that way. I think it was just her characteristics were finally just kind of being exposed. And she literally flipped it. And just kind of made it about her, and everybody was attacking her. And if you really pay attention to the way they were saying it, they really weren't attacking her at all. But that's a perfect example of the Jezebel spirit working through reverse psychology. I don't think, unless they're a Christian, it's very, very rare that you'll see somebody in bondage to the Jezebel spirit really be able to receive correction, simply because rejection is involved. And I told y'all that about me in my I Love You Jezebel video. In order to really break a stronghold like that off of somebody, it's not enough to just because sometimes you can't even really properly execute your authority over, because you are that in bondage to it. Sometimes God actually does have to send somebody else And love as well. Jezebel's the one behind the steering wheel, but rejection is like the door opener. But that's what I got from that dream. It's showing me I can trust my husband and he's not gonna treat me like everybody else. Letting me know that that spirit is 99% of the time the reason for people turning against you, because it's just a witchcraft tactic. And yeah, just the character. And then later on in the dream, like she turned into somebody else, and then she started doing it to other people too. So that definitely was Jezebel in the dream. She started talking about somebody else. She completely forgot about me and started victimizing somebody else. But it's tricky. These spirits are tricky. So yeah, that's my video, and this is completely super long for no reason. um, it's kind of painful, but some of this stuff, when the Lord actually breaks down the nature of this spirit and how it actually works, like I said, I have actually seen a lot of those characteristics in myself in situations I honestly did not even notice it. I didn't even realize it, and God kind of had to like show it to me, and I'm just like, whoa. So I would pray about it. If you know that the Jezebel spirit is something that you deal with, I would honestly ask the Lord to kind of help you examine yourself and kind of just bring some things to the surface about your personality or your character that that spirit may be afflicting, and you may not even see it. Other people can see it, but you may not be able to see it. So pray about that. And also just on a corporate level, this is a way that you can discern people like that. I really don't like people like that at all. I don't know why you would want to just, I don't know. That's it.